But I know the DJ.
Do you?
Welcome to episode 35 of But I Know the DJ, a podcast discussing all things DJing, music, nightlife, business, and pop culture through the unfiltered opinions of host SNAX, a.k.a. Jermaine, Tito, and Marlon SNAX, empowered by Dope Entertainment and our sponsor, Anchor. A little different this time. No guest this week. Just me. Just talking a little bit of knowledge, talking a little bit about what's going on in music, in culture. You know the intro. Just me today. We're just going to keep it moving. Lots going on, obviously, post-pandemic, as we are even locally and then the global level. Live shows are back on the local level. Big Night Live here in Boston just dropped their dates on some big acts that they're going to have, including Alesso, Diplo, Cruella, Deadmau5, and, even beyond that, a lot of people that have been pushing their tour dates, into 2021, 2022. All that's going to be rolling out. J. Cole actually just announced his tour with 21 Savage, the British Bulldog. Concerts coming back with a vengeance. And people are excited. People, again, your tickets that, went to shit in 2019 are going to be, are going to be respected and going to be able to work for that time as well. It can be very busy and it's going to be a very busy and competitive fall season. However, a lot of people are suffering. A lot of promoters and venues and venue owners are really, really struggling. Despite such good, exciting news and business, the Small Business Association's sluggish rollout of the $16 billion shuttered venue operators grant program that Congress approved back in December is leaving many independent venues and promoters ill-prepared for the return. People can't staff. People just aren't ready to be able to have this influx of shows, of performers, and ultimately patrons to be able to come through. We've seen this on the club level, here locally, as we've opened back up. We've mentioned back in the last couple of episodes of how fucking crazy it is. Like about half of the venues that we're used to having here open, for that I used to play in or whatever, they're not open, and it's real difficult. This is ultimately all that we wanted, but things are really tough. But it's exciting that live shows are coming back. Fuck, I haven't been to a live show in fucking forever. I mean, like I said, Big Night, in terms of the acts that they book, they've been doing a lot of really, really big acts, 50 Cent, Steve Aoki, to name a few over the last couple of weeks. So, it is happening and people are becoming accustomed to it to an extent, but having those big venue, big arenas kind of coming back, stadiums, etc. It is pretty exciting. And I know that, a couple months ago, Fenway was under insane scrutiny for having some of their biggest acts, pull out just due to the fact of uncertainty. How can some band from the 70s that plays every summer at Fenway, kind of commit and risk the fact that they might lose money if they get a random cancellation due to COVID? So they pull out, and it's one of those things that a lot of people are complaining about because damn, these are staples into summer Boston culture, and they're fucking it all up. So, again, there's things that we're way too ill prepared for, and now that it is happening, we can't staff. We're not ready. There's still no fucking Ubers. It's insane, but we are appreciative that it is happening. We got to be positive. I'm a glass half full type guy. And so I'm here for it. As we spoke about, J. Cole did just announce his tour with 21 Savage. And it's pretty exciting. He is coming to Boston. J. Cole is one of those dudes that, I'm not an entirely huge fan of, but so many people are. I know he's a talented guy. His last album actually was very, very, very good. He's just some guy I don't really pay too much attention to be honest. But exciting. Big tour drop. And in other artist news, Ed Sheeran, the soulful Ronald Weasley, is about to drop his Bad Habits record, having shared, a few apocalyptic video teasers that are set to air in specific cities such as Los Angeles on June 24th, New York, London, Beijing, and Sydney on the 25th. If you haven't seen it, it's been kind of all over social media. Ed Sheeran being such a giant pop artist, which is still so fucking funny to me because he's a weird looking dude. I'm not gonna lie, but I was looking at it, or watching it rather, and just getting big The Weekend After Hours vibes. The makeup that he's wearing and the suits that he's wearing. He's wearing a red suit, very similar to what The Weeknd was wearing. It sprung up the conversation, or really the thought process of originality. And in pop music, obviously, it being popular mainstream music, originality is really tough. Remember in 2015 where every single song sounded like Lean On by Major Lazer? There was this blueprint of what a pop song should sound like, 100 BPM, Selena Gomez on the verses, and then a big, drop, Moombahton drop, pop drop that sounds like a DJ Snake record. Every song did that. I Took a Pill in Ibiza sounded like that. I Know You Like It sounded like that, and I think that ultimately just happens every few years where you turn on the radio and everything sounds like each other. And even trap music does that. We think of people who are, big right now, Pooh Shiesty, 42, they're these tiny dudes that have a lot to say with really, really nasally voices, and that's kind of the sound right now. And I think that's the state of music. I recently just did Icon Side Room hip hop night, best hip hop night in the city. Ask Your Mom About It. And I really, really noticed there which songs had big pops from the crowd and which didn't. When, you think of crossovers from I'll do my Dirty Sprite 2 Future stuff, which is now crazy throwback energy, which is wild to me. And then, yeah, like I said, you do the 42 or, Pooh Shiesty, Coi Leray, stuff like that, and huge pops from, younger crowd. And I actually had a few of my friends pull up this weekend, and they're over 30, and while they're able to have fun, great party people, always great to see them. You're able to feel the difference, and it's wild. Like, people just party differently as they grow older. They drink differently. The music they listen to is different. The things they get excited about is so different. And I always think it's really funny as a DJ, me being kind of in the middle, me being at 26, I see both sides, and it's uncomfortable. And especially if you're a guy, being maybe late 20s or early 30s in the club, which is fine. But then you look at some girls and they just turned 21. It's their 21st birthday. And for some people, that might not be a big age difference. But for me, I'm kind of weirded out by it. And vice versa, too. Women who are over 30 talking to guys who maybe just turned 21. I feel that's less so or less frequent, but it is a thing. And so much happens within those 10 years, such developmental years, especially as party years. You know what I mean? Again, what you think is cool or what you think is fun changes so much. And I definitely found that apparent more and more as, the weekends go on. And like Hectic said last week on our show, there's still a lot of rookies that are coming out based on the excitement of post-COVID energy or the fact that we're outside now. And then there's the vets that, I've been doing this. If you know, you know. And there's all these rookies that don't know. So they're not giving you the respect that you deserve, goddammit. And that's just the name of the game. The state of going out of nightlife is definitely still on its head. Talking to Ado, our producer and, head promoter of Dope Entertainment, Dope Promotions. We're talking about looking into the future, into September, because right now we're going to be riding this wave, this not only summer wave, but again, we outside wave post-COVID, only for that to probably start washing away by mid-August, only for it to happen again in September with the influx of students. In Boston, most of the universities around here required full vaccination to be able to attend, which means they'll all be vaccinated, all ready to party, all ready to go out. And not necessarily being so concerned about another spike that we saw last year. Again, everyone being, or most, everyone, being enrolled, being vaccinated. And so that excitement, imagine you're outside is open, but you're stuck in fucking New Hampshire or something, middle of fucking nowhere, and you're still working your summer job and shit, so you can't party yet. So the excitement that we had just a couple of weeks ago is going to be coming in again in September by the thousands. So we're going to be held down for quite a while. It's an exciting time. It's a hectic time, but I'm happy to be here, happy to be alive. What a time to be alive. And I did want to go into our next segment here. I know I'm talking to myself and talking to my beautiful people. Shout out my listeners. Shout out the guest listeners. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody who's been supporting the podcast through 35 episodes. I appreciate you guys. And I don't have guests for a reason. I don't talk alone or host alone for a reason. I always have guests for a reason. Talking to myself is very, very awkward. 10 minutes in here, very, very slow burn. But, ultimately at the end of the day, I do have things to say. I do have things that I would like to recap. Again, me having guests week to week is to get other opinions, other experiences through. And I think it's been going quite well. I mean, the guests we've had have been super diverse. Been extremely an honor to meet some of these people. Most of my guests, I met them for the first time while on the show. But to be honest, both of my guests that are supposed to be on here today canceled. So fuck you guys. Appreciate it, leaving me here on the hanging cliff here. But you know what? I'm the Latino Jimmy Fallon. I can do this shit. It's no problem. What I did want to bring up though is this article that I actually do really, really love and that I check in on every so often, recheck in on every so often. It is a complex article that when it originally dropped, I'm not too sure. It had to have been at least 5 years ago. But basically what it is obviously I'm a big hip hop fan. Obviously I like to try and cover and talk about as much music as possible. But at the end of the day, I'm a big hip hop fan. Most of the events I do are hip hop based, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a little bit of an historian, a botanist of beats, as I like to say. And ultimately what this is it's an article of the best rapper alive for every year since 1979. Why 1979? For those who don't know, that is the official birth year of hip hop back in the Bronx. And it's a really interesting article. It's, again, if you're a hip hop historian, if you want to learn more about kind of the roots of it and who mattered and when and why, it's a very, very, very long article. And the reason why I like it even more so is because of how dynamic of an article is. I originally found it, I think if it was not in high school, it was in college, so years ago. And ever since then, when it initially dropped for every year, they add on the most recent edition. So again, it has been very interesting to see the change. And so while I won't bore you for going through every fucking year since 1979, what I will say is who the first couple were. We'll say the first 5, and then we'll go through the last 11. So from 2010. And as we go through, I'm going to kind of go through why. I'm not going to, read word for word why, what the article is saying, but follow along. Feel free to make your guesses as we go through each year. But I did think this was going to be something interesting that I could, talk about with the listeners here, those that are hip-hop inclined, hip-hop forward, and that maybe if you're not, kind of get an idea of kind of sharpen up your chops here. So as we go into the top of the article, again, this is complex, the best rapper alive since 1979, if you'd like to follow along with me here. So if we're going back to 1979, these are very if you know type artists. The best rapper, 1979, Grandmaster Caz. The first person to DJ and rap simultaneously, and his original rhymes were stolen for Rapper's Delight. Rapper's Delight, if you don't know, I said a hip hop, the hippie to the hip hip, Poppy, it don't stop, the rockin' to the bank. That's one of the original hip hop songs. And if you don't know, hip hop was kind of created. We had our break beats, we had jazz, blues, and those records by those DJs that they were looping those break beats, the good parts, the boom, the boom, the boom, that ultimately people were dancing to at the parties, instead of letting those songs rock, using the doubles of those songs, right? Having 2 of each record and looping that break beat. So that was DJing, right? DJing being a very big origin of hip hop. And then holy shit, you get the dude who gets the mic. Oh, there's no words to this breakbeat, so they start rapping over it. And then rap and hip-hop become born. Grandmaster Caz, 1979, 1980, Curtis Blow. Clap your hands. Everybody, if you got what it takes, because I'm Curtis Blow, and I want you to know that these are the breaks. Legendary, iconic, 1981 Kumo D. Very, very famous OG in the game. And as we move into 1982, Molly Mall, legend. 1983 Rev Run from Run DMC. So that gives you an idea of kind of what we're working with here as we start from the beginning. We're going to skip on to 2010 and get a little bit more familiar. And we'll be able to better contextualize what was going on and kind of the credentials in which we are working with here. So in 2010, I think it's obvious. Start casting in your votes now. Start making your guesses now. For the 2010 Best Rapper of the Year of that year, Kanye West with the credentials of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Good Friday series, if you know, you know, back on Hot New Hip Hop, World Star Hip Hop Days, dropping Good Fridays every Friday, some of the best records that you could possibly put out for free. Guest spots on Live Fast, Die Young, the Deuces remix, and Start It Up again. Big, big classics, if you know, you know. What it says in some of the blurbs and some of the, in the bio here for 2010, Kanye made a triumphant return on rapping full time, lost in the hype of his post Swiftgate, if you know, you know, comeback was the fact that Kanye wasn't just the best rapper alive, but also the best rapper he's ever been. So 2010, Kanye West. Honorable mentions that they provided, people that were still in the running during that 2010 year. Rick Ross, absolute underrated legend. Nicki Minaj at this point, on her rise on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, she had the best verse on Monster, and then also in the running, Eminem. 2011, this comes to no surprise to me at all as well. We have Drake for his first appearance on the list, I think. Yes. First appearance for Drake at 2011. This is where he drops Take Care. Non-album cuts like Club Paradise, Dreams Money Can Buy. Guest spots on songs like I'm On One, Tony Montana remix, and Round of Applause. Songs I still play to this day. Some of the stuff that they say here. Bill Simmons once called LeBron James the car wash everything package, saying you see an athlete get handed the everything package maybe only 5 times in your life. Drake is like the LeBron of rap. I've said this on the fucking show. I've said Drake is the LeBron and Jay-Z is the Jordan. I've said this. Maybe I got it from here. I don't know. Drake is like the LeBron of rap, and he can seemingly do anything. Rap, sing, craft projects, create a soundscape, and drop meme-worthy lines. So true. The amount of captions, Instagram captions that are Drake lyrics is absolutely absurd. 2011 goes to Drizzy, Drake, Rogers, honorable mentions. Rick Ross again. Rick Ross is going to be a constant runner-up here. Jay-Z and Kanye West. So, already from the gate, Drake being amongst elite talent. Moving on to 2012, Drake again. The light-seeing God makes his footprint on the rap scene once again. At this time, we have, coming off of 2011's Take Care, guest verses on songs like Stay Scheming, No Lie, Amen, Pop That, Fucking Problems. Crazy records. Again, pretty much all records I still play to this day. And even in an off year, again, coming off of 2011's Take Care, Drake was still on so many records, more records, hell yeah, fucking right. The motto all being huge in 2012 and kind of, no one really up there to play with him, except honorable mentions Kendrick Lamar. So I think this was about when Good Kid, Mad City came out. Good Kid, Mad City is also a perfect album. Debate with your mom, perfect album, meaning top to bottom, no skips, and the best within the best of its time. So if we're looking at the context of 2012, we're comparing it to Take Care, which is close to a perfect album. I used to say it was a perfect album, but I do think Good Kid, Mad City is a perfect album. Other honorable mentions, 2 Chainz and Rick Ross, again, 3 times in a row. Put respect on Rick Ross's name. Thank you. 2013, Best Rapper of the Year, Kendrick Lamar. Coming off of his 2012 honorable mention. Credentials, Good Kid, Mad City. Guest verses on A$AP Rocky, Young Jeezy, Jay-Z records. The remix of Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Crazy. Not only becoming, one of the best new dudes, XXL freshman cover but also bringing in his whole team with TDE. I remember everyone. If you wore a TDE hat or a TDE hoodie, I did not forget. Honorable mentions that year: Drake, Danny Brown, 2 Chainz. Shout out Danny Brown for making it even onto the honorable mentions. That's pretty incredible. Moving on swimmingly to 2014, Nicki Minaj, best rapper of the year. And the thing is, Nicki Minaj is so underrated. So underrated. I would say probably best female rapper ever, surpassing Missy Elliott quite recently, I would say. A lot of people say Queen Latifah for being OG. People will probably put in a vote for Lil' Kim. But I think Nicki Minaj's career has absolutely surpassed all of them. Starting here, again in 2014, The Pink Print, her debut album, bangers on bangers, if you know, you know. A stream of remixes and Lucy's. Lucy's, for those who don't know, are basically singles that weren't, singles is a record company term. Oh, we don't want to, this song is good enough to sell on its own. We're going to drop it as a single. A Lucy is a single that doesn't make money. It's like, it's a mixtape. It's a mixtape joint, or we're just dropping it. As we mentioned in the 2010 entry with Kanye West, the Good Music Friday series, where it was just free records coming out every week. Those are Lucy's. They don't belong to an album. And first female rapper in 56 years to have 4 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs chart. Put respect on her name. We mentioned recently as well on the show the Mount Rushmore of the 2010s, and I think it included Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick, and it had 1 spot open. Nicki Minaj deserved that spot. Honorable mentions that year: Drake, Young Thug, and Killer Mike. Killer who? No, I'm just kidding. Killer Mike is a pretty good rapper, but I don't remember what the fuck he did this year to deserve to be there. Moving on to 2015. Let's really get in a time machine and think about 2015 for a second. Meme culture was rampant. Certain songs kind of made that year. And all I can think of when I think of 2015 is a red puffer jacket, some Timberland boots, and Drake with Hotline Bling. Credentials: 2  number 1 debuts. If you're reading this, it's too late. And what a time to be alive with Future in the same year. First ever Grammy nominated diss track in back-to-back. Hotline Bling, highest charting solo single, and launched OVO Radio on Beats One. Guest verses on Blessings, Where You At, Rico, and 100. Insane resume for a single year. Back-to-back, Grammy-nominated diss track. That is absolutely disgusting. Back-to-back is such an insane record. The beat's not even that good, but the lyrics, like, if you're trying to pin Drake as non-lyrical, just listen to Back-to-back and just, it's not even just the bars, but it's just the complexity of those bars. The fact that it had the album cover was of the dude who hit the walk-off home run for Toronto against Philadelphia. It's just how do you think of that? It's just absolutely insane. Honorable mentions for 2015: Future, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole. Another running for that Mount Rushmore spot for me, Future. But again, I do gotta show love to Nicki. 2016. I don't like this choice, but I'm a little biased. 2016 best rapper of that year, Chance the Rapper. One of the corniest dudes on the fucking planet. Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie. I've never been a fan of Chance the Rapper. Credentials for that year: Coloring Book, Ultralight Beam, which is the only reason why I can tolerate him, because his Ultralight Beam verse is amazing. Live performances on Saturday Night Live and the ESPYs, Magnificent Coloring Day Festival, and he remained independent throughout this process. Me personally, I don't think this is enough credentials to earn you the best rapper of that year. And he's so fucking boring. Oh my God, he's so fucking boring. Honorable mentions for that year: Q-Tip, Kendrick Lamar, Young Thug. Honestly, I probably would have given it to Kendrick. Young Thug, maybe. Honestly, just not Chance the Rapper. Fuck Chance the Rapper. 2017, moving on, almost done here. Kendrick Lamar back on the list. Credentials, #1 album debut. First solo single to hit #1 and 4 Grammy wins. It includes here one of my favorite lines of all time by the great Ric Flair. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And depending on how you view it, To Pimp a Butterfly was one of two things. To most, Kendrick's third full-length project that was gonna, kick him on the mainstream and make him super popular. It was very intellectual. It was jazz inspired. It was an amazing piece of work. But to others, it was the admission that to that point, when it came to creating popular rap music, it just he wasn't it. You know what I mean? And like I was saying earlier, Good Kid, Mad City. I've been a fan of him since since his Section 80 days or anything like that. I will admit the first time I did hear Kendrick was Good Kid, Mad City, and like I said, perfect album. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But he kind of just went into the conscious stuff and made political music, and again music that was very jazz inspired, which is really, really dope. And I do bump it to this day. But if we're thinking about rap, and especially around this time, 2015, 2016, where this is really when club music or clubs really started accepting rap and hip hop. So club ready records were kind of what's being consumed. And so when you release an album like To Pimp a Butterfly, you start going against those norms at that time contextually. Is that going to elevate you? Maybe. Is that going to hurt you? Maybe. Right? Depending on who you ask. So for a lot of the younger people, maybe, oh man, this is that boom bappy backpack, whatever. But to some of the more intellectual people as well, it did hit all the way home. For comparison's sake, Drake did drop 2 albums that same year, which were, again, the other side, the radio stuff, the club stuff. And so honorable mentions will include him. Honorable mentions, Jay-Z, Cardi B's first mention in all of this, and Future. I believe this is when Cardi B, I think this is like when, Bodak Yellow probably hit the streets. And then, she starts launching this Instagram era of rap personalities where people on, what was she on, fucking Love and Hip Hop or Basketball Wives or some shit? Where did she start? She started on some show. I'm pretty sure it was Love and Hip Hop. And at the time, she was just this loudmouth, funny stripper at the end of the day. And as a lot of people on those shows do, is they try and develop a career, music career, singing career, rap career, based on the hype that they get from those shows. And she was just another one of those at the beginning. And then she's really fucking nice. Going into 2018. I thought this choice was pretty wild. Sorry, not wild. I was surprised. 2018's best rapper of the year, Pusha T. Credentials: best rap album, Grammy nomination for Daytona, really great album. Love Daytona, should have been longer. And Complex's best album of 2018, plus the famed story of Added On. If you don't recall, this was the time of the Drake and Pusha T beef, which is the one, or probably the biggest L that Drake has ever taken. In the past, Drake's won beefs with Joe Budden, Meek Mill, as we mentioned, and this one, what a lot of people thought was going to be another one on his record, another belt. Pusha T actually fucking washed him, in my opinion. It was sad to see because I do love both artists. Also, My Name Is My Name should have deserved a Grammy. I think it got a nomination. But ultimately, 2018 did go to Pusha T with honorable mentions J. Cole, Drake, and Travis Scott. Travis Scott's first mention here. I feel like a lot of people listening would say that Travis Scott at least deserves a placement here as we near the last 2 years here, 2019 and 2020. And I'll say that he actually doesn't get either. 2020, I would say 2021, we'll have the discussion when we get there. 2019, I was kind of surprised at this choice as well, but it also kind of makes sense. And again, so this is the year before COVID. Think of how the clubs were at the time. Think about how the radio play was at the time. 2019, the best rapper alive that year, DaBaby. Credentials, Baby on Baby and Kirk. Two great projects out the gate, running the clubs, running radio, and started getting into TikTok. When I got on TikTok kind of early COVID, it was fucking DaBaby songs everywhere. To the point where I started really disliking DaBaby. But it makes sense. In the opening weeks of 2019, Lil Nas X's Old Town Road was picking up momentum on TikTok. Post Malone and Sway Lee had the highest charting rap song in the country. The When I Lived in the Dust, and it's like I don't know how that's a fucking rap song, but whatever. We'll call it what it is. And the early pick among industry experts of rap's Rookie of the Year was a soulful young artist named YNW Melly, who I absolutely dislike so much. Every A&R in the country was desperate to sign the next melodic rapper, and the sound of hip-hop was evolving at an accelerated pace. This is something we've talked about in the podcast in the past. You know, melodic rap, emo rap. You know, it's become super popular these days. Again, with people like YNW Melly, Juice WRLD, rest in peace. You know, the like. But as we all learned in physics class, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And unconcerned with melodic trends of the moment, a fresh new face from Charlotte named DaBaby had emerged within the trenches. On March 1st, he dropped Baby on Baby, which just included so many fucking fire records that it's funny because I think in the winter of 2018, when I was playing, the clubs around there, a lot of people were like, "Yo, you need to get on this guy named DaBaby. He just dropped this mixtape, Baby on Baby. Has a lot of, Going Baby was on it. Up the Street was on it. Early records like that. I think Suge was on it. If not, it was on Kirk, but I'm pretty sure Suge was on it. And I was like, okay, cool. Looked into it, and I was like, oh shit, this is like super different. He has like this, southern accent with how he raps, and he's actually just like spitting bars, but the beats are fucking sick. And I started playing it in the winter of 2018, and I remember saying on the microphone, because no one was reacting, because he hadn't blown up yet. And I remember saying on the microphone, congratulations on playing your favorite song in 6 months. And here in retrospect, we're seeing that he was the artist of 2019. Honorable mentions that year, Young Thug, Benny the Butcher, who I think very much well deserves a placement here. For those who don't listen to Benny the Butcher, definitely listen to Benny the Butcher. And Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs is a very interesting pick in my opinion. And now last and certainly not least, we have the 2020 Best Rapper Alive. I think this is absolutely well-deserved. I think this is a great choice. We have Lil Baby. Credentials, the most consumed album of 2020 with My Turn, a 2-time Grammy-nominated singer, the single, The Bigger Picture, and fucking features up the fucking ass. In early 2020, we had saw Lil Baby kind of really come to his own after, just a few years. I don't know if you know Lil Baby's story. Young Thug handed over a stack of cash and encouraged him to seriously pursue a rap career after he was really in the fucking trenches in ATL. After releasing 7 projects between 17 and 18, took a break in 19, directed his focus on perfecting an album and would undeniably establish his place in rap's highest ranks, wasting no time in 2020. Dropped pre-album single with Something to Prove on the 9th day of the year, showing his hunger as he rapped about how, quote unquote, by the time I get 40, I got to be one of the greats. And I think he's done that very, very well. Honorable mentions from there. In 2020, Freddie Gibbs, once again, Lil Uzi Vert, Benny the Butcher. Months ago, in one of our earlier episodes, I believe, when I had like 3 other DJs here, Cammy, Toomey, and Stamps here, I said at that time Lil Uzi Vert was arguably the hottest rapper out. At the time, he had dropped like 3 or 4 projects that were all amazing. So I'm glad to see that someone recognized the same hero with the honorable mentions. So that's what we have for the last 10 years. Sorry if that was boring, working by myself here, but I did think it was something interesting that, again, if you are a hip-hop fan, a hip-hop fanatic, a hip-hop historian like myself, the botanist of beats, as I like to call myself, you will appreciate kind of seeing that evolution. We started the decade at 2010 with Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, an amazing album, and ending with Lil Baby. You see what I'm saying? The year before that being Da Baby. Oh my God, the fucking babies. Holy shit, I just noticed that. Whew. But where do we go from here? 2021, we're halfway. I would say Lil Baby might go back to back at this point. I think Lil Baby's going to go back to back. Who else would beat him? Oh, fucking, yeah, no, I don't think anyone would beat him. I kind of want Tyga to win a year just because I fucking love Tyga. Oh, God, I fucking love Tyga. But anyway, some little programming here is going through the ranks here. I will keep this episode nice and short as I'm sure you guys don't want to listen to me talk too much. But again, we do have more guests coming through. Again, I appreciate everybody listening. Please watch us on YouTube. I'm staring right at the camera right now. I appreciate you. I love you. Please DM me more AKAs because I'm running out. 35 episodes deep. I'm a dumbass by swatting out 3 with this episode with the 3 Jackson brothers, SNAX and brothers, as I might say. I'm not gonna lie, the Botanist of beats is really gonna become a real thing that I just thought of on the spot today, and I really, really like it. For those who don't know what a botanist is, just look it up and it'll make sense. But I'm gonna leave you guys with this. We're outside. It's time to level up from all the market that we've lost. Continue listening to But I Know the DJ. Follow Dope Entertainment Official on Instagram. Follow your boy. Give me snacks on Instagram. And we'll see you next time. You hit my head. Now I'm going to fuck you up.